As always, we are here today because we are doing a Q&A webinar. So Kelsey's going to be here with me, um, helping answer your questions. So feel free to drop your questions into the chat and also drop your questions into the Q&A. We'll be able to kind of go through them right there and filter them so that way we can best answer you. As we always mention, for those of you that join us on a regular basis, we at Horizon Trust are just a self directed custodian. We are not licensed to give you financial advice or information about your investments to tell you if this is a good investment or bad investment or anything like that. So, for anything like that, you should always speak with a professional. So we do have our little disclaimer here that Horizon Trust Company is a passive custodian and as such only performs the duties of a custodian. So we do not provide advice, sell investments, nor offer any tax or legal advice. So we do try to answer your questions to the best of our ability. Anything that falls outside of our ability and that will require that professional help, we'll tell you, we'll be sure to let you know that that is the option that you're going to want to take. So first one is from David Williams. It's asking, can I start an LLC, company A, to flip properties and set up ownership so that 25% is owned by my SDIRA LLC, 25% by me personally, and 25% each by two other stakeholders?
So technically with that, right, we shouldn't be advising, but when it comes to using a checkbook LLC for investments, yes, you want to make sure you're not commingling any of your funds, but you're still technically able to invest with yourself. Let's say in a rental property with this example. As long as the individual yourself is putting up a stake of ownership percentage with equity, it is its own entity. And if your retirement account is also putting in funds to equal its ownership percentage, then it can go in on an investment together. But if you're looking to use 100% of your retirement funds and give yourself personal equity without actually putting up any stake, then no, that would be considered prohibited. So, yeah, as long as you're doing it correctly, that should be fine.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of those LLCs that you can kind of mix that money with other people, with your own money. You just have to make sure that you're following certain regulations, like Kelsey said. Ownership percentage is definitely one of the regulations. In order for you to allow it, you don't want to have majority control in the company.
Mhm.
So all of that is definitely something you want to look at. And then because your retirement account is also still invested, you can't necessarily be doing any of the work that would be needed to maybe rehab a property, um, since this is for flipping properties. So I can go in with my Roth IRA and my own account personally, but a contractor would still need to go in and do the repairs. Um, Not because, I'm in there 50% and my IRA is in there 50%. Can I do 50% of the nail work? It doesn't work that way. And the IRS is definitely going to frown upon that. So
Mhm.
as long as you stay completely out of any manual labor or,
Sweat equity.
yeah, sweat equity that it takes to flip the property, you'll be okay. So that's a great question. Great way to start us off. Appreciate that, David. Um, let's see here. So next question's from Lily. How does the process of purchasing real estate through an SDIRA work? So Lily, that's actually a very big and very loaded question.
Right.
And the reason why is because you can do so much real estate through a self-directed account. So it just depends on how you're looking. If you want to go bare bones to I want my self-directed account to own a property, then you would go about it the normal process of if you were buying a house yourself, except the buyer is your self directed account, which would be listed under Horizon Trust Company, FBO, Lily Sosa, Roth IRA. I'm assuming Roth, we just mentioned that a lot. So,
Yeah, and it does depend too on your structure with this because if you have a checkbook LLC, then you're going to operate it kind of like a regular business when purchasing. You're purchasing it under the business's name. If you don't have that option with us, then it would be the Horizon Trust verbiage, like Alex mentioned, which is Horizon Trust FBO, standing for benefit of your name, the client's name, and your account type here. So if you're purchasing it directly through your Horizon Trust account, whether it's 401k, Roth, traditional IRA, it's going to have that verbiage. If you have the checkbook LLC option, it'll be purchased under the LLC's name and you'd kind of operate it like a regular business.
yeah. And the advantage with the checkbook LLC, and this is kind of why we said that was a loaded question, is because we talk about checkbook LLCs a lot, just because of how much control and flexibility they give you, and how much convenience they give you to make investment purchases.
Mhm.
So, real estate, for example, we gave you one example of just buying a home outright. That is one example. You could also, like David mentioned, flip a house. So that's purchasing a contract for a period of time, which you're still buying it outright, but then you're selling it. It's shorter than you would a rental home, for example. Or wholesaling. That's where you just buy the contract and then sell the contract to a flipper like David and his team to then, you know, renovate the house and do what they need to do. But you're making your money. So there's so many variables. And then what's the biggest one that would require a checkbook LLC? Tax liens.
Tax liens.
Tax liens pretty much require a checkbook LLC because you need to have that checkbook control. For us to be able to do that right after a property goes on lien and you acquire it, it's simply not possible. So if you're interested in tax liens, a checkbook LLC will 100% be that option for you. So that's a great question, Lily. We appreciate that you asked it because it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I would also say a lot of our clients, most of our client base is involved in the real estate market or real estate investors, real estate agents, brokers. I mean, most of our client base is real estate related.
100%. Um, so we can definitely support you a lot, Lily, with that. So if you do have a specific situation in mind that you're thinking of, just let us know, and we can definitely assist you with that. Let's see. Zahid is asking, how can I double close with an IRA when I don't have enough funds to purchase the initial property? That one's a little bit more complicated, Zahid. So, to do the double closing, you do need to have that income available. So, you could do partnerships with someone else, or the only type of loan that qualifies to be done within an IRA would be a non recourse loan. So, if you're an existing Horizon Trust client, we do have our investment corner. It has lots of great information that clients can use, including non recourse lenders. So these people work specifically, or these banks work specifically with trust companies like ours and help give you a loan that would not be backed by you because you can't guarantee a loan personally. So
Mhm.
it's just held by the retirement account, and the primary asset would be the property. So if for some instance you can't repay the loan or anything like that, then the bank can only go after the property that was in question, and the retirement account, I guess, in a sense, because that's that's the whole purpose of that non-recourse loan that these banks offer. They tend to go at a little bit of a higher percentage rate, but they are a viable option if you are short in cash and but you want this project and you maybe have like 50% of the cash. So you just need another 50 to finish the property. They work with you well to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you can also consider other options if that's just not an option for you. Look into maybe joint venturing with other potential parties of Horizon Trust or any other non-prohibited person to you. You can always do business together with other IRAs, with other businesses, as long as they're not a prohibited person. Which, while we're on this topic, just to reiterate, a prohibited person would be anybody directly above or below you on your family tree. So yourself, your spouse, parents, grandparents, children, and grandchildren would be prohibited to you. Anyone outside of that scope should be okay. So you're even able to work side to side. You can invest with siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of great options available. Um, when you're working with family, though, you just want to make sure you avoid the disqualified individuals, because disqualified individuals, well, they're
Make the transaction prohibited.
make the transaction prohibited. And just to think about that is if you're thinking of a family tree, it's a linear up and down is the disqualified party. So grandparents, great grandparents, and then children, great grandchildren, your children's children, not children's children, what was children's
Your
spouses.
grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then equivalent spouses. So if it's an in law as well, it would be prohibited.
Yeah. But siblings is okay, cousins, aunts, uncles, stuff like that, that's fine. So great question, Sahid. Next question is from Melissa. Melissa, so I read through your question already. I'm not going to read this one out loud on the webinar, but I have already made a note of it. I've sent it over to one of our team members. So we're going to get in contact with you to get this figured out because I understand your concern, and we definitely want to get that situated for you. So we'll give you a call. Be on the lookout for one of us to reach out to you tomorrow. We'll call you, and if we can't get in contact you, we'll send you an email, but we'll definitely be in contact to get this situated for you because I definitely understand the concern there. Let's see here. Luce is asking, I have a Roth IRA. Are there any fees associated with converting to self-directed IRA? So Luce, you may be new to self-directing, and if you're not, you might have missed one of the webinars where we did talk about that. Self-directing is a type of vehicle, I guess is the right word. Would you say, Kelsey? Where it's your Roth IRA, if you have a self-directed Roth IRA, it's still a Roth IRA. The self-directing is just the term that says what type of account it is. It's nothing special. So yes, you can convert your Roth IRA into a self-directed IRA with us here at Horizon Trust, and we'll be able to help you bring that money over, transfer it here so that you can then invest it in what you know and understand. So, as Kelsey mentioned earlier, a lot of our clients tend to do real estate, but you can also go into cryptocurrency, precious metals, invest into companies through private equity. You can do private money lending. So there's a huge amount that you can access by self-directing your retirement account, where maybe in a traditional sense through a big brokerage firm, they're only going to do stocks, bonds, and some firms, like I believe Charles Schwab, has a self-directed retirement
Right.
account, but you can only self-direct into what they have already chosen, which isn't true self-directing. True self-directing is more of what you can't self-direct into, like arts,
Collectibles, so like
collectibles,
liquor, cars,
liquor, cars,
art,
exactly.
drugs,
Yep. So those are the things right there.
But yes, to answer your question, moving a Roth IRA to a self-directed Roth IRA, no, there wouldn't be any like taxes or consequences that you have to worry about. You're just moving it from one qualified account to another qualified account. That's it.
Great question, Luz. Stacy, your question is, I'm just setting up my solo K, so this is a newbie question. Can I use more than 50% of my funds for investing? I'm confused if the 50% limit is only for loans and it's different than investing. So yes, Stacy, that is a different rule. That 50% rule only applies to loans. And in that scenario, so let's take your brand new solo 401k, which you have $150,000 in, for example. With that, you would only be allowed to take $50,000 as a loan because that is the maximum that the IRS will allow. Now, say your account was $50,000 in value, you would only be able to take $25,000 as a loan because that's the 50% rule. But regarding that for investing, no, you can invest 100% of your money. And if you're trying to take a loan and say your value is at $150,000, you can still take a $50,000 loan and invest $100,000 because we're looking at the total market value of your account to calculate what your allowable amount is and not necessarily how much cash you have available. So, because we want you to be successful. We want you to make your investments. That's the whole reason why you're self directing, because you got frustrated or you just wanted to diversify from traditional investments. So, we allow you to fully invest 100% of your money. But regarding loans, there's regulations set by the IRS, which is $50,000 or 50%, whichever is less. So that's a great question, Stacy. And if you need help with your loan to fully understand how that works, give our team a call. We can assist you and walk you through kind of that process and even tell you how much you would qualify for and help build out your schedule, which you will then repay yourself monthly interest or at least quarterly. Quarterly is the
Yeah,
requirement by
at
the
least
IRS. But we recommend monthly. It just makes it a little bit easier. Great question, Stacy. Um, Suman, is that the one that you were saying hi to earlier?
Yeah,
Right, right.
Suma, yeah, she's in
Suman.
San Diego.
Yeah. So Suman's asking, can I use my SDIRA to fund an earnest money deposit of a property that is not owned by me?
Yes, absolutely. We have a bunch of clients who do EMDs. Um, and it's actually a fairly simple process because what you'd submit to Horizon Trust is just a promissory note saying how much you're investing, what the return's going to be. It always needs to be, if it's going directly to title, which they should,
Mhm.
it doesn't need to be signed by the borrower. You just need to provide the promissory note and then our direction of investment form, which as soon as your guys' accounts fund, typically you have an appointment with me to go over not what to invest in, but the process of actually investing in what you're interested in. So if you're a new client on here, Suma is. She hasn't funded yet, but as soon as you do fund, the next step would be talking to me again to go over the actual process to do an EMD. But yes, you can, and it is very popular.
Yeah. So great question, Suman. That's another option, like I mentioned, for investing into real estate. Because, like I said, our clients are very real estate heavy, and that just tends to be because so is Greg. Greg, the founder of Horizon Trust Company, is a very real estate heavy individual. He founded Horizon Trust Company. Um, 13 years ago, back in 2011. Did I do my math right? I did. Yeah, back in 2011, 13 years ago, because he was a real estate investor and wanted a custodian that would allow him to move as quickly as he does. So, like most entrepreneurs, when they don't find something that works for them, they make it themselves. So
Mhm.
that's where Horizon kind of came from.
Yeah, I mean, especially in real estate, right? You have to think that a lot of these transactions are timely based. So if you can't have your custodian send out funds in a timely manner for an investment, I mean, you lose out on the deal potentially. So that's why I say a lot of our clients that are invested in the real estate market typically have checkbook LLCs as their option because it just, they have full capability. You have quicker access to your money. You're able to send a wire on the spot, write a check when you need to. It makes it so much easier.
Yeah, and it's just a much smoother and more convenient process all around.
Right. Because if you do it directly through Horizon, when you're submitting these direction of investments, we're obviously reviewing the paperwork to make sure everything is listed out correctly. And then if it's not, which a lot of the times title companies don't get it right, or the client maybe just didn't express what needed to be written out correctly, and there's corrections that need to be made. So every time there's a correction, you're just kind of like adding a business day to your processing time. So it can just get a little convoluted.
Hmm. Yeah, great question. Um, Scotty asked, I have a SDIRA and a full-time job. How much can I contribute from my W-2 job as new money into my SDIRA?
IRAs are standard across the board. So what you could contribute at Fidelity or Schwab, you can do with your IRAs here. So it's 7,000 for 2024. If you're over 50, it's an additional 1,000 catch-up contribution. So if you're over 50, it's 8. If you're under 50, it's 7,000. And
Here's
you
the
have up to April 15th
yeah,
to make that contribution.
and here's that 2024 contribution limit increase. We'll be on the lookout for the IRS's regulations regarding this because pretty soon, around this time of year, probably within the next month or so, they put out contribute if there will be a contribution limit increase for 2025. But regarding 2024, this is kind of where it's at. So we have this form available on our website. So you go to horizontrust.com, and then at the top under the forms section of the website, if you scroll down, we have our other forms here and then 2024 contribution limits. So this form will tell you how much you qualify for and what you're able to invest in. So great resource. We do it every year because it's very helpful to our clients to know how much they can invest in. So based on your type of account, I would say just go ahead and look at that on the website, and then that'll help you out for sure.
Mhm. You also need to have earned income, so you can't just contribute to an account if you're not making an income. So keep that in mind. You at least have to earn up to $7,000 to $8,000 that year to be able to contribute that much to an IRA.
Let's see. Next question I have here is from Dorothy. Wants to know, can I buy gold and silver through my solo 401k? In short, Dorothy, the answer is yes.
Mhm.
That is another option that is available through a self directed retirement account. And as mentioned earlier in the webinar, we have that option listed on our investment corner of individuals or companies that you can reach out to if you're looking to invest in precious metals like gold and silver. They'll be able to walk you through the process, facilitate kind of the investment process. And I believe they even assist with completing the direction of investment form and making sure that all documentation is received on our end, complete and accurate, so that it becomes a smooth and seamless process.
Mhm. Yeah, you can use any broker too. It's just you want to be very cautious with metals to make sure you're going with an established company. Look for the reviews online. How long has the business been standing? With metals, it can get a little tricky because the money is sent out to the broker first, and then the metals are shipped to the depository. And so, just make sure you're working with a long established company when it comes to metals. So just be very cautious.
Hmm. And then next question is from Jay. Can crypto go into Roth SDIRAs? Yes. So crypto is another option that you can invest in. They can go into any account, not just a Roth. But if you have a Roth, then yes, you can purchase crypto with that Roth IRA. And since you've already paid the taxes on that Roth, you'll be able to grow that money tax free. So that means once you are ready to pull your crypto investment out of the wallet, um, that money will have already been taxed. So you don't need to pay any more taxes on those earnings.
Mhm. Yeah, you don't pay taxes on the capital gain. So,
It's very convenient.
mhm.
Um, let's see. We got a question from Anonymous, and Kelsey, this question is going to go back to your former employment of LLC and entity formations.
Oh.
Can I keep my solo K active once my sponsor company stops making money if I keep the sponsor company open but no active business?
Yes, you absolutely can. You just can't contribute to the plan in terms of making a contribution from that sponsoring company. So as long as it's an active plan, that's okay. You're just limited to investing with the money that's existing in the account. So yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Hmm. Yeah. So great question. Let's see. Suman did a follow up, it looks like. Joint venture is definitely a way to go, like Pace's students. So, yes, in many of the real estate communities, Pace Morby, Brandon Turner, Ryan Pineda, um, all these individuals who focus that and grow these large communities of real estate individuals, you can partner with these individuals through a joint venture. It's definitely a great tool and a great way to leverage little money to do big things.
Mhm.
Um, Here at Horizon Trust, a couple of us kind of work together uh, and have a joint venture to make our investments and to help grow our own retirement accounts. So
Mhm.
Kelsey and I are actually a part of one of those, and it's fun. We find a deal, we pitch it to the group, and if the group likes it, we'll make the investment, and we get a nice return.
Yeah, we're talking like, we have quite a few members in that LLC, and
Hmm.
they only, put in a couple thousand here or there.
Yeah.
It's been actually I like that. I like that we have that.
It's very nice. And then especially like if you structure it the right way, you don't even have to manage it. You just make your initial investment, you get your regular report on what's going on, and
Mhm.
then
You're
that's about
passive.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very convenient. And then it looks like Zahid asked a follow-up question. What is a checkbook LLC? Kelsey, take it away.
Okay, a checkbook LLC. So this is just an extension of your account at Horizon. All you're doing is really adding on like an arm's length transaction. So instead of having to submit what we require to send out funds for an investment, like a direction of investment, instead the money gets sent to a business checking account. The account is owned by your LLC. The LLC is owned by your retirement account. So on the membership certificates will say Horizon Trust FBO, your name and account type, and the manager is you personally. All it does is allow you to have easier transactions. So a lot of our clients do have this option because, like I said earlier, it does make the process a lot more seamless. And that's what we use to invest. So when Alex was referencing us doing business together, it's in a checkbook LLC. We basically put a few accounts together and invested that way with, little funds here and there. But a checkbook LLC, all it does is it's easier access to your money and it helps you manage it a little easier because instead of having to come to Horizon to submit paperwork every time you want an investment out, you can write a check on the spot. You can send a wire same day. You don't have to wait on processing times. It really cuts down the potential to lose any deals, especially in the real estate market.
Yeah. So a checkbook LLC is a very powerful tool, and we can walk you through that process and help you get one set up if you are interested. So I'll go ahead and actually drop a link into the chat for you guys, where if you are interested in learning more, you can schedule an appointment with us, and we can get that information over to you. So dropping it in right now. Should see that at the bottom of your screen. And then I have to scroll back up to the questions because I'm not trying to skip anyone's question. Although, based on the time and the number of questions, I love you guys. You are absolutely amazing. There are so many questions and they're all great questions. So I already know I'm not going to be able to get to all of them, but we will try to get to as many as possible. Let's see here. So that one's that.
I know I'm looking at all these questions. I'm like, which ones have we answered already?
Yeah.
I feel like it's not in order.
It's definitely, so I'm looking at the Q&A, which there's 18 open questions, and then I try to also go in the chat because you guys are also asking questions in the chat. So the Q&A organizes it for me and the chat organizes it, but I have to organize it myself side by side. So let's see. Susan, you asked, could I invest in IUL with the solo K? Looks like you're trying to go through a particular individual. So in regard to IUL, I don't think you can because that's a life insurance, if I'm not mistaken. And I think life insurance is not permitted within self-directing.
So yeah, technically that is correct. It's like a one-off basis, so you probably want to call into our team to see if it's something that you can do. It does depend on a few factors, which I prefer not to lead people on and tell them that that's something that you can do. But if you do have an account with us and it is something you're interested in, you can call in and ask if it's something your account can do. But you're right, Alex. Typically, no, you can't invest in life insurance. There is a little loophole if you have a self-directed 401k or a solo 401k though, because that loan option that we were talking about earlier, you can take. You can borrow 50% of your market value with a max of $50,000. And you could take that money to invest in a life insurance policy. So there's workarounds. It really just depends.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Next question I have here is from Yazir. There's a trend going on these days about discounted IRA 401k when someone leaves a 401k company, then instead of going the traditional, then Roth, been told to transfer money, let's say assume 100,000, invest in a syndication, let's assume 40,000, then convert 60,000 to a Roth. Is there any more insight? So that's a big question. Not entirely certain about the first part is here. So if you want to give us a call, our team can definitely assist you. Our office has closed for the day, so we won't be able to assist today, but you can definitely give us a call or schedule an appointment and we can kind of go over this in more detail. Regarding the conversion, which is what it sounds like from the second part of this email, you're trying to invest, after you move 100,000 to a self-directed retirement account, you want to convert 60,000 into a Roth. So that is something that you can do. And that's just something where, as we mentioned earlier in our disclaimer, you're going to want to speak with a professional. So this is one where you're going to want to speak with your CPA or financial advisor and let them know what you're trying to do. And the reason being is because when you're doing that conversion, this money is counting as income. So you don't want to convert more than you need to, because then it might push you into the next tax bracket and you'll have to pay more in taxes. So you want to do a Roth conversion in years where you may be getting
The least amount of money.
the least amount of money. Yeah. So if you may be getting some sort of refund or something like that,
Deductions. Yeah.
deductions, all of that, that's when you want to be considering a Roth conversion. You don't want to just do it all at once because you're like, I just want it done here and now. If that is the case and that is what you want to do, that's fine. Just understand that that would be a taxable income, and that is going to be reported to the IRS.
Mhm.
So that's a great question, Yazir. And as we're talking about taxes, I'm going to jump ahead just because scrolled down and saw a question about this. Let's see. Where is it? So this was from, there it is. This from an anonymous individual that said, "This is my first year with an SCIRA. What do I have to file with the IRS at the end of the year?" So nothing. You don't have to file anything with the IRS. We at Horizon Trust, as your custodian, will assist with filing all documents on behalf of your retirement account. If you took a distribution from your retirement account within we're currently in 2024. So within 2024, in January, we will generate a 1099-R form, which is just telling the IRS that from this retirement account, this amount of money was taken and will identify any taxes that were withheld or anything of that nature. And then you'll receive a copy as well for your records that you can share with your financial advisor or CPA when it comes time to doing your own taxes. If you're a business owner, we also assist with 5498 for 401k accounts. If the value of one sponsoring company, so for those of you that might remember, a 401k, in order to establish that, must have a sponsoring company in connection to it. So that's not the Checkbook LLC. That's a different vehicle. This is the company that you are the self employed owner of this company, which allows you to open a 401k. So if that company, if me, myself, am the owner of that company and my account value, my 401k account value exceeds 250,000, then that is my own account kind of generating that 5498. 5498,
No,
5500.
5,500.
5500.
Mhm.
Um for the but say Kelsey and I were married, we could also both have our own 401k still by the same sponsoring company. And so long as our collective value is over 250,000, then that's where that would also go into play. So the 401k one's a little bit more confusing. We can have a 401k webinar soon, just so that way we can discuss that because that's a very big topic that always comes up. And as we approach the end of the year, if you're interested in starting a 401k, then now is the kind of the time
Mhm.
because for a 401k, the documents must be created because we have our third party affiliate who creates the plan documents for 401k accounts. And those need to be created before the end of the year. So the deadline for that is really like the first week of December in order to actually open a 401k. And why do you want to do that now? Traditional IRA, Roth IRA, we talked about contributions earlier, and Kelsey mentioned, oh, you have until the tax deadline of next year
Mhm.
to contribute. That works for normal retirement accounts. 401ks, if it wasn't set up within the year of 2024 and you try to set it up in 2025, it's not going to work
Mhm.
because your account was established in 2025. Your plan docs won't allow us to make a contribution for the previous year. So
Mhm.
that's the benefit. So if you're sitting on it, kind of thinking about should I or shouldn't I for a 401k, use the link that I dropped in the chat, schedule a call with our team. We'll talk you through the process, see if it is the right option for you. And if it is, we can go ahead and get the process started. So that way your account's ready to go. Even if you're not ready to fully contribute to it right now, as long as your account gets created within this year, that'll still allow you to take advantage of it next year.
Mhm. And to that point, it's not even your account opening. The plan documents need to be drafted and signed before the end of the year. So don't think you can come in at, mid through December, say, oh, I want to sign up for an account. Even if we open your account that same day, which we do at least one business day, account openings, it's still going to be based off of the plan documents being signed, which takes a couple of weeks to generate through a third party. So make sure if you're looking to get some deductions by setting up a solo 401k for your own business, that you are, being a little bit more proactive and looking closer to November, at the end of November, than even the beginning of December to set up a 401k.
Hmm. Let's see. I'm gonna get to this next question from Michelle, which I can already inform you that I don't have the answer for you, but it's a great question that I love bringing up on a webinar because of its value. Um, I inherited my late husband's 401k and opted to transfer the funds into an inherited Roth rather than my own. After some reflection, I believe it would have been better to have chosen my own Roth IRA instead. Is it
Mhm.
possible to reverse that decision?
No, unfortunately, once you make that decision and make that election, it's that way moving forward. So when it comes to inherited accounts, when you inherit your spouse's account, you have the option to take it on as your own, or it can remain as an inherited account. So if a child, for instance, receives an account from their parent, it needs to be an inherited IRA, inherited whatever account it is. If you're a spouse, you get the option, and you almost always would want to take it on as your own because there's no reason not to. There's
Mhm.
more benefits to keep it on as your own versus having to deplete the account in however so many years, depending on, their death date. So, um, as a spouse, you typically want to take it on as your own.
Yeah. So that's a great question. Thank you, Kelsey.
Mhm.
Appreciate that.
We definitely have a lot of clients who have inherited accounts, and they kind of rush you into it too to decide. So, you're definitely not at fault for choosing that option. It's just it was what was presented to you.
Yeah. And we understand that time of that time isn't necessarily the best time that you want to be making these decisions.
Right.
You're grieving, you're going through a lot. There's other things that you're kind of thinking about, or even if you get to it a year later, you're still maybe undecided and you didn't even realize something like this existed.
Mhm.
This is where we try our best to assist you and to figure out what the best option is for something like this. So our team is very well knowledgeable, and if this does happen while you are a client with Horizon Trust and your spouse does need to contact us, we'll walk you through the process. We'll hold your hand. And if at any question you don't understand, or if at any point you don't understand one of our questions or one of the processes or one of the benefits, um, just ask us. We're more than happy to assist, and we're very knowledgeable in helping get you the best decision that's going to be for you, as well as working with a CPA and financial advisor
Mhm.
that can help guide that decision from your personal financial aspect.
Mhm.
Giovanna asked, I'm new to Horizon. How safe is my IRA investment when I pass my investment to a self-directed IRA? Um, so Giovanna, if you already have an existing investment with your current custodian and you want to move to a self-directed custodian like Horizon Trust, we can do what's called a transfer of assets. So depending on the asset, we would most likely require a statement showing what type of assets those are. But once we look at that statement, if we can accept them, we'll provide you with a letter of acceptance saying that we accept these assets in kind and they are transferred over to us. Let's take, for example, if you're maybe moving from one self directed custodian to another and you're moving real estate. What's going to happen is a couple things. Your real estate will need to be updated to reflect its current market value before it can be transferred, and that'll be regulated by your former custodian. That won't be by us. We should already receive those assets at their current market value. And then the next step is that if it is real estate, you would have to go through the retitling process wherever that property was purchased. So if you bought it from, this isn't a self-directed custodian, but Fidelity. So you're going Fidelity Trust Company, FBO, Giovanna, a Roth IRA, then you would need to retitle it to Horizon Trust because Horizon Trust is now the owner of that. Well, not Horizon Trust. Your Roth IRA at Horizon Trust is the owner of
Mhm.
that property. So your properties, your assets, they're secure in the transfer because we don't make any changes in regard to them. We don't have to necessarily sell them. It just depends on the asset individually. So that's why we ask for a statement and we'll review what we can transfer over in kind. So that way you don't have to necessarily get rid of an asset.
Mhm. Well said.
Thank you. Susan asked, can I invest in fintech startups? I would be a shareholder. So yes, Susan, you can invest into something like that to the extent that you do not own the majority of the company. So as long as your ownership is less than, what is it, 50%, um, right?
Yeah, less than yeah. I think it's 49%.
49%. Yeah,
Mhm.
because you have to own less than half the company. So 49%, I think, is the actual number. But if you own less than that, you're fine. Startups are another great things that people tend to invest in with a self-directed retirement account because it allows them to do something like that.
Mhm.
Normally, if you're with Fidelity or Schwab, you're investing in Apple, Google, or Amazon.
Publicly
Um,
traded, yeah.
Publicly traded, yeah, stocks, and that's what you're really buying. You're buying stocks and shares in that company in that regard. But with a self-directed custodian, you can buy shares into smaller companies that don't necessarily have that. Let's see. Paul asks, can I use my retirement account to provide a short-term loan to purchase a property and have repayments go back to the retirement account, say a 1-year loan?
Yeah, of course. A lot of our clients do. I mean, that's essentially a private money lending deal. And I would say that's maybe our number one investment type for our clients. And I feel like the hardest part when it comes to private money lending is obviously finding somebody that you trust to lend your money to that you can guarantee is going to give you a return back. But yeah, you can absolutely do that. And the easiest way to invest doing it that way too is if you if you have a community of people, if you're a part of a real estate community, that makes the process a little simpler as well. But yes, you can definitely invest in that. Also, something that I just want to point out, a lot of people ask, is there a certain amount of time that the money needs to be returned back to the account? And the answer is no. So the same way that you can hold a stock for life is the same way you can hold an investment. Like we said earlier, we have a lot of clients who have physical real estate assets, and their goal is to pretty much maintain that asset until for the foreseeable future. So there is not an allotted amount of time that the funds need to be returned before there's any taxes or penalties. It's an investment. It can be out for 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah, great questions. Um, and then we are kind of getting close to the end of our webinar here. We have about 10 minutes remaining. We're going to still continue to go through these questions and do our very best.
Are
Damn,
we doing
time just
rapid fire?
flew by.
Is that what we're gonna do?
Oh,
Once it gets to 10 minutes, we try to do rapid fires.
we do, but honestly, I don't want to do rapid fire just because some of these questions are so good and the answer is just like
Oh,
needs to be given. But we'll do
okay.
our best to go through it as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So this next question, we get this question a lot. It's regarding our fees. So people are always asking, what are your fees? What are your fees? So for us, our fees are based on a tier structure. We have an all-inclusive plan, so all your transactions are included within the year. There's a couple tax documents like a 1099 or stuff like that that needs to be prepared because
Mhm.
we have tax professionals prepare those documents. So that's more their service fee that we just pass along for you. If you want to avoid that fee from Horizon Trust, you can use your own tax professional to do that. But it might cost you more. So that's really entirely up to you. But all fees are listed on our website, horizontrust.com. In that same section where I showed the ACH contribution form, it's the forms section. So you can go check it out right there to do a comparison. We will never be more than 1%. We are actually always under 1% of annual fee based on your account value. With other custodians, regardless of what they're telling you, you will be paying more than 1% because of their transactional fees, their hidden fees, their account custodial fees, and there's so many miscellaneous fees. So do your due diligence. We understand that money becomes a conversation when you're talking about money.
Mhm.
So we understand that. So our fees, they're not hidden. They're available on our website. You can go ahead and take a look and see what they are. Um, Next question here. Can I use my retirement account to provide a short-term loan to purchase? Oh, is that the one I read?
Yeah, you did.
It is. Oh, I
Yes, you can.
didn't dismiss that one. Okay. See. Um, Oh, it looks like Zahid's over here doing money moves. So you might want to connect with Zahid if you're here in the chat and looking for your next investment because he's saying, can a non-recourse loan be through a PML? So you would figure out the private money loan terms with the person that you're borrowing the money from. So the non-recourse aspect of it can be figured out with them because that's just terms between two people. I can lend to Kelsey and say that it will be a non-recourse loan and that I will not go after her, but I will go after the property if she defaults on the loan, for
Mhm.
example. So yes, and then you followed up with, is a brother slash sister-in-law prohibited? No. So your siblings, so your brother sisters, are not prohibited. That's the sideways on the tree.
Mhm.
So that's okay, and so are their spouses. Um, So brother, sisters, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, those are not prohibited individuals.
Mm.
Great questions. Um, let's see. Can I use the account to pay fees to start a business like registration fees and stuff necessary for setup from Luzel? If it's regarding setting up a Checkbook LLC, you can use the self-directed account to pay those fees. So you can set up the Checkbook LLC because it is owned by your retirement account, it can pay those fees. If you, however, are trying to do something personal, that's where you would need to either have a 401k and take a loan option, or unfortunately just take a distribution, which is a taxable event. So you'll want to kind of consider your options, Lizelle, with that. And just give us a call. We can definitely assist you with that. Jamie, I need help setting up a 401k solo. Jamie, links in the chat. Go ahead and click that. We'll be more than happy to assist you with that and answer any other questions. Let's see.
Sounds like we need to do a webinar about 401ks. Didn't we do one?
I feel like we just did one, but it might be time to do another one.
Yeah,
And I'm
it
okay
sounds
with
like
that.
that's
I
yeah.
really don't have a problem doing that because these webinars, that's what the Q&As are really helpful for us. They tell us what you guys are asking and what we should do with future webinars. Can you do rollovers into a SDIRA? What if I don't have W-2 income? So
that doesn't matter at all. So sorry, let me just separate the two contributions specifically. So you taking money from your personal or your business account to make these contributions, that's different. There's limitations with that. But as far as rolling over existing IRAs, 401ks, any type of retirement plans, there's no limitation on how much you can roll over, regardless of earned income. So you could be completely self-employed and not necessarily paying yourself any income. That's perfectly fine. You could have no job and might have previous retirement funds. You can roll all of that over. And it's completely up to you. You can do a partial, full, whatever you'd like.
yep. Let's see here. Uh, Let's see. I opened up a lender facing LLC through Prime Consultation. Once I converted my Roth IRA to SDIRA, would I have to contact Prime to have the SDIRA become the owner of the LLC, or would I contact Horizon to do that? So it's a personal LLC that they want to convert into a checkbook self directed LLC.
That you cannot do. So from inception, the LLC has to be set up to be owned by your retirement account. You don't want to use an existing LLC that's already owned by you personally because that would be considered prohibited. You're basically like exchanging your membership ownership from you personally to your retirement account, which you don't want to do. So the initial setup of the LLC's intent has to be set up for a checkbook LLC.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of why we say the checkbook LLCs would need to be created, not necessarily by us, but by someone that knows what a self-directed checkbook LLC needs to have, because the operating agreement is set up in a particular way.
Yeah, it
Um,
needs to have very specific verbiage in it stating that this is basically a retirement account that you're investing with. You know, the LLC is not going to be paying any taxes.
yep.
It's not going to file a tax return other than K1. So, yeah, you can't just use any old LLC to utilize as a checkbook LLC.
Yeah,
So, call us if you're unsure.
yeah, and I did see a question about this that I didn't get to, but since it kind of got brought up, it's can we assist? And yes, we can. We at Horizon Trust don't necessarily set them up ourselves, but there is a company that we can refer you over to. They have taken care of many of our clients, and they can walk you through the process and help answer any of your questions. So once they're working with you, they'll help ensure that your documents are set up in the correct order, based on what the IRS requires to be in there. Um, and then let's see. Gary asked, if I have the checkbook IRA using my LLC created by Horizon, can I invest in a promissory note without sending the note to Horizon?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, Gary.
That's another benefit of the checkbook LLC, right? You don't have to send the documents to us to approve. You
Correct.
have full capability to do that.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the checkbook LLCs, and that's why we say control and flexibility, because they allow you to make the decisions without having us review documents. We can still review documents if you'd like, because you want to make sure you're not doing anything prohibited. So if you want us to look over documents, we definitely can. Our transactions team will ensure that it does remain compliant within your LLC. But no, they do not need to come to us. You can make the investment yourself. Without our control, we will simply assist with the first part of the Checkbook LLC, making sure that those documents are in order. But then once the money's in your Checkbook LLC bank account, you have free range to kind of go on your investments, still complying with IRS regulations. That's the key there. The
Mhm.
Checkbook LLC, it's not just open season to do whatever you want. You still have to comply with IRS regulations and treat it like a self directed retirement account. So you still don't want to do any prohibited transactions with any children or parents or anything like that, and buying anything that you shouldn't be. One of the things Kelsey did mention earlier, so this is kind of where the asterisk is, and this is where you might want to speak with a financial professional or attorney, is with a Checkbook LLC. I saw a lot of questions in here about real estate. So people buying Airbnbs and rentals and stuff like that. You could do that within a LLC. One of the things Kelsey mentioned earlier that you can't necessarily buy this directly with a retirement account, is a car. So a car you technically cannot buy. However, if you have a Checkbook LLC and you operate Turo, where you have a team that manages Turo, then you can buy a car because it is for the business, but don't drive the car. Do not drive the car.
Disclaimer, do not
Do not drive
drive
the
the
car. Yes.
car.
So lots of great questions, everyone. It is 5 o'clock, so I'm going to find one last question to mention. We are getting a lot of feedback from you in the chat, also saying that you would want a 401k webinar. So, you know what? We'll have a 401k webinar in 2 weeks. It'll be a great value. And as we approach the end of the year, it's a great conversation. It definitely will not be a wasted
Yeah, it's
webinar.
perfect timing for that, I'd say.
100%.
Definitely.
Let's see. Let's see. Oh my God, so many big questions.
Did you see the question from Charles? I think he asked it twice.
I did not. If you have it, you can read it.
Yeah, he asked, how do you set up a business brokerage account for your Checkbook LLC so that taxes are not reported with your EIN? Well, the thing is, you'd have to list your EIN number for the Checkbook LLC with the brokerage account. At the end of the day, the taxes would get reported to that EIN, but ultimately your LLC is not filing a business tax return. So, and you're also, when you set up that business brokerage account, make sure they're very aware that you're not setting up an IRA account, that it is just a business brokerage account. So ultimately, your EIN still has to be listed. The only time that you'll use um, somebody Horizon Trust's EIN number is if a K1 will be distributed, which they don't for those. So you'd still have to use your business's EIN.
Yeah. And I had something in mind for, oh, that's what it was. The question regarding end of year and taxes. What do I need to file for the end of the year? So, as we mentioned earlier, you don't need to file anything for the end of the year. All of those documents have either already been done or will be coming due come January.
Mhm.
The one thing that you do want to be mindful of in your retirement account is a fair market valuation. So, we send out an email every year, and you have until the tax deadline. So that doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it by the end of the year, but it is an end of year activity. So by the tax deadline, which actually I believe, just in order for us to process them in time, we actually have until the end of March, roughly when we require them, so that they can be reviewed and completed. But a fair market valuation. So that's where you are going to assess the value of your accounts. If you have a Checkbook LLC, you're able to do that yourself. If you have real estate, then you would most likely need a licensed professional to evaluate those assets and give a fair valuation of what the value is. So there's lots of terms. We send out an email about that every year. So we'll send one out come December, most likely, with information about fair market values, and how to go ahead and complete that. So, with that, we did unfortunately reach the end of our webinar. I do want to thank you all for being here today. It is 5 o'clock here on the Pacific Coast. So, on the East Coast, it's 8 o'clock for you. So, we appreciate you spending your evening with us. Kelsey, thank you so much for joining me today. It was such a great help.
Yeah, Alex is like the the marketing manager that needs content.
I
And
100% need content on a regular basis.
we're always here for Alex. He's the
Yes.
best.
So I was talking with her and I was like, if you don't help me, I have to do this by myself and I'm going to cry. And she's like, I got you. So thank you everyone for joining us. We really appreciate you. As you saw our little sign here, it is Halloween season, spooky season. So have a happy and safe Halloween, which is on Thursday. So, all right, everyone. Thank you very much. See you in 2 weeks.
Next Tuesday. Sorry.
Yeah, Tuesday in 2 weeks. Thank
All
you
right.
all.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There's lots more great content for you to learn and enjoy and apply to. And so anyways, click on the link below and listen to more videos or set an appointment with us. We look forward to hearing from you and also helping you.